Welcome.
You are watching Line Screw 1.
Well, good day, tubers. Today I'm coming to you from on board the New Amsterdam here in the state capital of Alaska, Juneau. We are actually downtown, and I'm actually just waiting for all the people to get off so I don't have to wait in line to disembark. We got here a little bit late. We had 35-mile-an-hour gale force winds, and of course we did leave Vancouver late because of security and immigration issues. So all told, I believe we were supposed to be here at 1 p.m. local time. Of course, Panhandle here is 1 hour earlier than Pacific time, around Alaska time, so I think we're, in the end, 2.5 hours late on arrival. So the captain has graciously allowed us 1 extra hour on the other end to return to the ship tonight. So we'll be coming back quite late, right around dusk. Of course, the days are a little longer up here. But anyway, a little bit of history about Juneau, Alaska that you guys may not know, especially you Yankee Doodle dandies. Juneau, Alaska, believe it or not, as far as I can tell, if anybody is more learned about U.S. history, please chime in on the actual comments. Juneau, Alaska is the only state capital named after a Canadian. That is correct. There's always a Canadian lurking somewhere in the history books in U.S. history. So, Juneau, Alaska was named after Joseph, or as we call him, Joe Juneau. Juneau, of course, is a French name, and Joe Juneau was from Quebec. Back in the day, of course, it was called Lower Canada, but it is where present-day Quebec is. And Joe Juneau arrived up here before the 1898 Klondike, a couple of years before that, and he was hanging around in Juneau with all the other miners and prospectors looking for gold. And he was a very smart man. Like many Canadians, we're friendly, we like to buy people a drink. That's what Joe Juneau did. The miners got together to decide what they were going to name the city. There was a few other competitors, like a fellow named Harris, and of course they wanted to possibly name the town Harrisburg, which shout out to Blind Views, his YouTube channel. Blind Views is in Harrisburg. There's already a Harrisburg, apparently the capital of Pennsylvania, when we all know the capital of Pennsylvania is actually Philadelphia. But anywho, the capital of Juneau is actually named after a Canadian, Joe Juneau. And the interesting thing about him is he actually just buggered off after he bribed all the miners to vote with free drinks. They cast their ballots and he won. They named the town after him. It became the town of Juneau, now the city of Juneau. So he actually buggered off. He started a restaurant, I believe, in Dawson City, where the miners all headed up for the great Klondike Gold Rush. They all headed up the White Pass and Chilkoot Trail at Skagway, which is where I shall be soon. So he actually died there, and he wasn't even buried in the town which he is named after. So somebody was smart and actually had him interred here. So his body is now dug up from the Yukon, brought several hundred miles here, and he's buried in the local cemetery here in Juneau, which I think is appropriate. If you're going to name a town after a foreigner, like a Canadian, the guy dies, you might as well bring his body, you know, out of respect. Otherwise, you know, what are you going to name the town? You're going to name it Harrisburg? Really? Another Harrisburg? How many Harrisburgs are there, really? There's probably more than one. So, a little bit of background history for Juneau, but you know what, there's a lot more to see. Even though it is a rainy day, it's about 11 degrees Celsius, probably, that'd be what, low 50s Fahrenheit for you Yankee Doodle dandies. So I will show you what the lineup is looking like. Oh, you know what? It's thinning out. That's good. There's a lot less people. Only 2 ships in port, and we are close in. That is downtown Juneau. So the first thing that one must do when you arrive at Juneau, very appropriate, we must say hello to the doggy, Patsy Ann. Let's go get her done, get off this darn ship, and say hello to Patsy Ann. Okay folks, we are here. The official first act when you arrive in Juneau is to say hello to Patsy Ann, the official greeter. Now deceased, but her legacy lives on, and thousands of hairs from animals around the world are in the Patsy Ann statue. There's a bunch of information about Patsy Ann, and I will give you a little bit of background information about Patsy Ann. The majority of those who visit Juneau, Alaska in the summertime arrive by cruise ship. Situated nearby where the cruise ships dock in Juneau, Alaska, is a statue honoring Patsy Ann and her legacy as Juneau's official greeter. The story of Patsy Ann began in Portland, Oregon when she was born in October 1929 and somehow made her way up to Juneau as a small pup. Upon arriving in Juneau, several families attempted to take Patsy Ann in, but for some reason she did not want to be a house dog. Patsy Ann spent most of her days wandering the streets of Juneau and had this uncanny ability to know when a ship was arriving, in spite of the fact that she was born completely deaf. Often Patsy Ann would be seen getting treats from the sailors, the longshoremen, and the many visitors that arrived in Juneau. Some people even attempted to put a collar on Patsy Ann, but she didn't like having a collar. She wanted to be free. Often when the weather got foul, Patsy Ann stayed with the longshoremen in their building. But she was a free spirit and became well known on the streets of Juneau, and especially on the docks. Patsy Ann's legacy continues to this day, for when you get off your cruise ship in Juneau, Alaska, you probably will find the Patsy Ann statue. It honors her legacy and contains hair from thousands of dogs from around the world. Patsy Ann died on March 30th, 1942. The following day, her small coffin was lowered into the Gastineau Channel, just a short distance from where you will see her sculpture today. When you arrive in Juneau, Alaska, make sure you stop by and say hello and take a picture with Patsy Ann. Well, this is what downtown Juneau looks like on a Tuesday in early May. Got a little bit of liquid sunshine here. Okay, everybody say hello to Earl. Earl's a big boy. He's a big boy, Earl. What's her name?
Dottie.
Dottie.
Yeah. Oh.
She's just laying around in this Alaskan store.
He's so cute.
Look at you, friendly Dottie. You're the new Patsy Ann.
Yeah.
Woo! Hello, Dottie. Look at those eyes. Look at those eyes.
See that? Whoa, what's going on here?
You know, call me strange, but this person with their rain gear, from behind, they look like Ku Klux Klan. I'm not judging, but it's very peculiar. It's not my first choice of rain gear in Alaska, but who am I to judge?